Hey guys, sorry I couldn't make it to class today. Unfortunately, something happened in my family, and I won't be able to be there on Monday or today for you guys. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a video with the notes, and then from there, once you guys are done with the notes, you'll ask Mrs. Sosas or the sub for the worksheet, and once you finish the worksheet, there's going to be a Delta Math. So thanks for bearing with me. Again, sorry that I'm missing yet another day. This is going to be my key. Sorry for the ugly key, but let's go ahead and get through this. All right, so today we're just learning an extension to what we already know. So we've learned graphing linear inequalities using point slope form and using slope intercept form, right? So today's extension is graphing linear inequalities. Now it's no longer equations, it's inequalities, and we've seen those before, so it's nothing new, right? So this little sign here, this let me see if I can get my little highlighter. This symbol is my less than or equal to sign, right? So I'm actually going to write it down here, less than, or, and maybe try to make it a little less thick, less than or equal to, right? So that's my less than or equal to. Then this boy right here is my greater than or equal to. And some of you guys probably already know, saying it out loud. And then let's go green for spooky colors, right? This is my less than sign. Less than sign. And let's go purple. And this is my greater than. Or for those who don't like greater, it can be also or just more than, right? More than. Awesome. So those are our four signs we should already know. Now, there's the rules for graphing inequalities are a little bit different than when we did them on a number line. On the number line, if you remember, this meant you went to the left. This meant that you went to the right, left, and right. But now we have not just left and right, we have up and down. So we have to understand what that means. When we are shading using the less than or equal sign, we always want to shade towards the smaller y values. When we have greater than or equal, we always want to shade above. So go towards the larger y values. And I'm going to show you a little trick that always helped me, and hopefully it helps you guys, right? And then you have the same exact rules for less than, you shade below, and then greater than, you shade above. Now, this is what might confuse some students. Both of these will. But whenever we have a less than or equal sign, we have to use, or a greater than or equal sign, either of these, we have to use a solid line. Whenever we have either of these, the less than or the greater than, we have to use a dashed line. And the reason being is because when we use a solid line, the same way that we would use, remember, so if you guys did x is greater than or equal to 3, you would have a closed circle on 3, and then you would move to the right, right? And vice versa, if you had a closed circle on 3, you would go to the left, or sorry, this is actually flipped. Excuse me, right? This would be to the left, and then this way would be to the right because we've got greater than, right? And then for the less than, it'd be an open circle on 3. Hopefully you guys can remember that far. And then greater than. And you guys don't have to write any of this down. But it's just like a little thing, right? We used to use solid circles and open circles. Well, here we won't have solid circles or open circles. We will have solid lines or dashed lines, right? So think of your dashed lines as like an open circle. So again, you don't have to write this down. Just a little, unless you wanted to, which is fine. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to teach you a couple tricks here. So the way that we'll get to it when we get to it. So in example 1, so if it's just asking us, hey, let's check to see if 7 comma 3 is a solution to my inequality. Well, how can we do that? What does that mean? Well, whenever we have an inequality, we have an infinite amount of answers. And so we're just checking to see if this is part of our infinite answers. And the way that we would do that is, remember, if this is my x and this is my y, all we have to do is plug them in. So this x will go into here, and then this y will go into here. So it's just quite literally copying it. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to put my x in purple and my y, my y in purple and my x in green. So 3 is less than or equal to, we still have -2 here, right? But that 7, or that x becomes a 7, and then we have a plus 15. We are just checking to see if this is true. If it is true, then this solution will be a part of this infinite set of answers, right? If it is not true, then it is not part of those infinite set of answers. It's kind of like me asking you, give me an age that is less than 100, right? Or give me an age that is less than 15. You can say there's only 14 answers, but I would argue there's an infinite amount of answers, right? If I asked you, hey, give me an age less than 15, right? Well, 14 is an answer. 14 in a day can be an answer. 14 in 2 days can be an answer. 14 in 2 days and 3 seconds, right? And so on and so forth. So, I did say less than, right? But we have an infinite amount of answers, and we're just checking to see if this is true. So, if I have 3 here, I'm just going to carry down the 3. Well, -2 times 7 is -14, and then add 15 to this. Well, I ended up getting that 3 is less than or equal to 1. What happened there? Right? Is that appear to be true? Is that true? No, right? This is absolutely not true. Right? I would rather have $3 any time of the day versus $1. So this first example is not true. So it's not true. It's a no. And so therefore, we're just going to go ahead and circle no here. And that's all you got to do when we're checking to see if an answer, if something is an answer for an inequality or at any point. So let's take a look now here. Now, Vuxhoy. I hope everybody here loves Vuxhoy as much as I do. I know some of us are still struggling with it. But remember, as long as you remember your Vux and your Hoy, you'll be pretty set, right? Because Vux means vertical line with undefined slope. At x, and normally we would have x is equal to -1, but in here we're not going to have x is equal. We do still want to put our answer at -1 here. And remember what we set up here. So we were going to have dashed lines, right? Dashed lines. So here, I'm going to make my point, and you can make an open circle if you want. It doesn't really matter. I don't think I'm going to check for the circles anyway. So my point here is going to be at -1. And now we're just going to make a vertical line on through x equals -1. But why are we doing it at x equals -1 when it's x is less than -1? Well, because we want any number as close to -1 as possible. So if we zoom in like all the way in, right, this point down here can be like 0.999999, but it's still going to be less than -1. So we want to put the line on -1 because instead of this being a solid line, we are going to go ahead and turn that into a dash line. And the dash line, what is going to be telling us is that that's not going to work. Let's go ahead and do that. The reason that we're going to make this into a dash line is the dash line is telling us, hey, we want anything up to -1, but we don't want to include -1, right? So here it is. That's my dashed line. You guys could have also made your own dashed line, right? But that's how mine's going to look like. It looks a little weird, but that's okay. And now, here we go. We want any number less than -1. So what's a number less than -1? -2. What else? Well, -3, -4, -5, anything to this side, right? So here, it almost works like my other inequalities, right? My inequalities on a number line. Here, we're going to go ahead and just shade everything to the left. And that's it. That's how we graph these. That is how we graph these. Everything to the left side. Now, for Hoi, remember this is horizontal. Change my horizontal. And that means left and right. 0 slope. 0. And y is greater than -4. So remember, we're going to make first a line. And in this case, we're going to make a we're going to make a solid line at -4. So let's go ahead and do that. My -4 is right here. We're going to make a solid line going through it. I've got my solid line. And now we want y values that are greater than -4. You know what I know is greater than -4? 1, 2, 3, anything positive, right? Anything positive. So it looks like we're going to be shading above the line, and that's how we do it. That's all we got to do. For y is greater than or equal to -4, we're going to shade above the line. Now, again, in this case, we do have a solid line because we want to include -4, right? -4 is greater than or equal to -4. So we want to include the -4, and so we do a solid line. So the way that I would actually remember these things when I was a kid is something similar. I've shown you guys my faces, right? And so my faces before were with the dots and everything, right? So now what we do, instead of having the dots, which you still can have, right, a little nose. This is my less than and my greater than. We have a nose, but now we also have this like a stitch face. And now it kind of looks a little weird. I don't even know what it looks like. All right, but less than or greater than have an open circle or a dash line. And then my other face, it would be, we have greater than, less than or, sorry, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, with a dot, right? And then we have a solid line. So now they have noses instead of faces. But again, if you're missing part of your circle, you should be missing part of your line. If you've got a solid circle or a line underneath your eyes, you should have a solid line. So so those are my faces that I like. So this is where the point where I would have you guys try these, right? So if you guys want to pause the video and try these, go ahead. I will be asking Mrs. Sosa's to check this out. So please go ahead and just, try them out a little bit. And then, but I'm going to go through my answers here. All right. So again, this is Vux Hoi, right? So Hoi goes here, horizontal. So we want a horizontal line at -1. And it's less than or equal to, right? So we have a solid. If you say equal to, we have a solid line. And what are numbers less than -1? Well, -2, -3, -4, all this way. So we're going to go ahead and shade down. For the other one, x is greater than 3. I'm going to mark my 3 here. But now it's greater than. So I'm going to go ahead and make a dashed line. Now remember, I know I didn't put it on here, but I shouldn't have to, right? Because I do know that this is Vux. So it's a vertical line. Now, x is greater than 3. Where is x greater than 3? Well, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of these. So anything to my right. And that's it. Right, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Let's keep going. We're almost done. We have 6 questions left. So here it's up to us to decide what are we using, right? So y is blank 2 negative 2x plus 4, right? So if you guys notice, right, if we have our little faces, right, our little faces, that's my first face. This is my second face, right? That is a dashed line. So we're going to have to use our less than or our greater than symbol, one of those. But which direction are we going? And the way that I like to do these whenever we have y is I like to check to see where is the shaded region going. Is it touching my up arrow or my down arrow? Notice that it's not touching it, but it's going towards my y arrow, right? My up arrow. So because it's going towards my up arrow, this is going to be a greater than sign. And that's it. That's all we got to do for this one. For number 4, solid line means that we're going to use our less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or my less than or equal to. Which direction is this being shaded? Is it going towards my up arrow or my down arrow? Well, that's obviously going towards my down arrow. So we're going to use our less than or equal to symbol because we're going towards my down arrow. So we want less. Super easy, right? Okay, now here it's up to us. We got 4 problems that we got to learn how to graph. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is exactly what you guys already learned, except with just that one added part, right? It's just that one added part, which is just which type of line in which direction. So for those who remember, this is in y equals mx plus b, or in this case, it's an inequality, but it's same concept, right? My m is going to be this right there. It's going to be my negative 1 over 3. And my b is going to be 0, 2. So let's go ahead and write those down. M is negative 1 over 3. And my b is 2, or remember, it's 0, 2. That's my y-intercept. So 0, 2, we're going to go ahead and write our first point. Now from there, what direction do we go? I wonder how many of you guys actually answered that. Down to the right. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. And you know what? That's enough. But if you guys like to go up left, then do so, right? I'm going to go ahead and do so because I'm a nerd. And I like being thorough. So that my line does not have to be perfect. But there it is. Now, did I make my line correct? Oh, actually, and I'm not able to do this anymore. They changed it, so I can't just erase. Well, here, remember, we got to be careful. This is our less than sign, right? We have our less than sign, so we're going to have to use a dashed line. All right, remember your faces. These faces right up here. I'm going to duplicate them. Dashed line. And now which direction are we going? Well, less than means that we're going down. So we're going to go towards the down arrow. So, boom. That's it. That's all we got to do. That's all we're doing. All we're doing is adding a shading and a different line. Here we go. Let's do one more. Obviously, M is my slope. So M is the... I liked it better before it changed the settings for erasing. But M is equal to 2. And it looks like B is equal to negative 1. But remember, it is negative 1. But our y-intercept is at 0, negative 1. Not negative 1, 0. 0, negative 1. So we're going to write our first point here. My slope is 2, but remember, I can't do anything with 2 unless I divide it by 1, and we're going to go up to right 1. So got our line right here. And I do use a solid line because it's greater than or equal. So if I say equal, we're going to have a solid line. Greater means we're going up, so we're going towards this arrow over here. And so I'm done here. That's it. That's how we would graph this one. You guys have already moved on ahead. Good work. Some of you probably have already, will pick this up in 2 seconds. So this, right? I know it's, you can't see it, but it's there. How many x's do we have? We have 1. So m is 1 over 1. B is -4, so 0, -4. First point, 1 over 1 means we go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1 continuously. And then we have a less than or equal to sign. So equal, we said equal. So we're going to use our solid line. Solid line through my points. And then less than means we are going down. Down arrow. So we're going to go ahead and shade down. One more. Let's do it. We are almost there. So, and then you guys can do your worksheet and then your delta math. So, all right. M is -2 over 1. B is 0, 4. We're going to go right here. We're going to go down and to the right, right? Negative means down. We always go to the right. We've been doing this for a couple weeks now. I'm going to go as much as I want. You know what? I'm going to go the other direction too because I am a perfectionist. Now, here we go. Greater than. Greater than means that we are going to do, we did not say equal, right? So greater than means that we are going to do a dash line. So we've got our dash line, and then greater than means up, right? Towards my up arrow. Greater than means more. So we're going to go up towards my up arrow. And that's it, right? So if you guys made it through, thanks a lot. If you haven't, please make it through. All right, you cannot get your worksheet until you're done with these notes. I hope this all made sense, and I hope that you guys then can use this as notes as well. Anytime you get confused, just come back. I am not there. Please do not overwhelm Mrs. Sosa's. I will see you guys on Tuesday, so tomorrow. And yeah, so have a great rest of your day, guys. Thanks so much for bearing with me. I'll see you tomorrow.